It's cotton picking time in Dixon. On the highways everywhere, one sees fields on hillside and hollow, white with opening cotton bolls. Nimble fingers gather the seed cotton into bags, and the songs of the pickers float on the hazy autumn air. This is Sam Farmer's place, and this is his cotton field. Pretty poor, pretty poor. Poor old Sam. His land seems to get poorer each year, and what with the poor stand and the insects and diseases, you can't blame him for wondering whether he'll ever be able to grow another good crop. And to think that he's again promised Mary that they would improve their home this year if the crop is good. Now he's got to break the sad news to Mary. When the interest on the mortgage, the taxes, and the doctor's bills have been paid, there won't be a cent left for improvement. Pretty tough. But Mary can take it. She's used to it. Early in the morning, Sam takes his first load of cotton to the gin. It goes up the suction like good cotton. The seed comes down the chute just like good cotton seed. The bale from the press looks like a bale of good cotton. It's weighed and tagged like good cotton, but the ginner says it's not so good, for much of it was picked too green and too wet, and so it's badly gin cut. But then, Sam always picks his cotton as fast as it opens. He can't be bothered with waiting half of every day for the dew to dry. The buyer doesn't think too much of his bale either. Staples pulls barely 7/8 and is badly gin cut. A cent below the day's market is his bid. No, sir, I'm not going to sell my cotton to this man. The second buyer also is critical of Sam's bale. What? Cent below the market? Nothing doing. I'm not giving my cotton away. And the third buyer makes it unanimous. These buyers must know what it will bring at the mill. Well, Sam might just as well have sold to the first buyer, for his short Staples gin-cut cotton just won't bring the market price. Here comes John Jones, a good neighbor of Sam and a very successful farmer. He sells his bale for 1.5 cents above the market price. Why? Because it's not gin-cut and pulls 1 1/16 inch staples. Money talks in any language, and even Sam's eyes are open when he sees his neighbor get 2.5 cents per pound more than he does. Yes, Sam, and he's making over a bale an acre, more than twice what you expect to make. How does he do it? By using pedigree seed and by following improved methods, learned from the South Carolina 5-acre cotton improvement contest. Early morning at the farmer homestead, and these are Mary's chickens. They're good layers, too. Like many other farm women, Mary helps to keep the farm going by selling farm and home produce at the Home Demonstration Club Market at the county seat. Discouraged, aren't you, Sam? Well, let's hope Mary gets a good price for her produce. That'll help out some, won't it? Enter Miss Brown, county home demonstration agent, who has been helping men for improving the farm home. No, Miss Brown. On account of the poor cotton crop, we won't be able to do anything to improve our home this year. Mary, why don't you have your husband see Mr. Smith, the county agent? He's helped numbers of farmers in the county to improve their cotton production methods. Just think about it, Mary. It may be worth trying. Look here. What's this? Mary's taking matters into her own hands. Will the county agent come by their farm and help Sam overcome his cotton troubles? He knows that Sam's worried and will listen to him now. The county agent understands, and within the next day or two, he drives in. Yes, Mr. Smith, those eggs are the result of the good poultry management practices Mary has learned from you. And what she hopes now is that you can do as well with Sam's cotton. Where is Sam? He's over yonder in the field. All right, I'll go and see him. I must be very diplomatic. Fine team of ewes, Sam. You should be proud of it. But what about that cotton? Come on, let's take a look at the crop. Not much good, that cotton, is it? Well, let's see what's the matter with it. In the first place, Sam, this cotton was picked early in the morning while it was still wet with dew. Cotton like this should be spread out and allowed to dry in the sun. Cotton bolls should always be well opened before they are picked. Half open and cracked bolls should be left for later pick. Results and records from 5-acre contest demonstrations have shown that highest yields are made where rows are 36 inches apart or closer. These measure 44 inches. That's too far apart. Field demonstrations show that highest yields are made where 2 to 4 stalks are left per hill in hills 6 to 8 inches or hoe width apart. Set up your stand too thin, leaving only 1 stalk to the hill 12 to 15 inches apart. This accounts in part for your low yield. How come, Sam, you have such a poor stand? Many of the seeds didn't come up, eh? And many of the young plants died before they made any growth. Well, a simple seed treatment and the proper placement of fertilizer will do much to correct that. Now listen to the county agent carefully. He's telling you that planting seed should always be tested for germination before being planted. And Sam, did you poison for the boll weevil? No? Well, this is the result. Much of the cotton stalk is bare of fruit as a result of weevil damage. At a cost of about 50 cents per acre for materials, the weevil can be controlled with calcium arsenate molasses poison. Cheap insurance against weevil damage, eh? Now let's stop here a moment. See where the plants have lost their leaves? They are badly affected with rust. Some dolomitic limestone and more potash in the cotton fertilizer will correct that. And of course, Sam, plants that die during the growing season do not produce cotton. The trouble here is wilt, and a wilt-resistant variety should be planted where this occurs. Your soil is washing away, Sam. Build some good terraces and adopt a cropping program that will control erosion and conserve the soil. Back of all good yields of cotton is soil building. This soil needs organic matter, which can be supplied through crop rotation and the use of soil-building crops. Sam, you should grow a cover crop this fall on next year's cotton land. Now let's look at this cotton. Very short staple. Where'd you get your planting seed? So, you saved them from year to year at the public gin, and you haven't bought any new seed for several years? That's bad. Cotton naturally runs out after several years planting, and when seed are saved at a public gin, they are always mixed with other seed of different varieties. Sam, you need to buy some pedigreed seed and have your planting seed gin separately. The cotton mills prefer 1 to 1 1/16 inch staple, and South Carolina Cotton Manufacturers Association has sponsored the 5-acre cotton contest in order to encourage the production of this staple by the farmers of South Carolina. You had better enter the contest, Sam, and follow the recommended practices. So now we find Sam with a new enthusiasm. He starts this fall by seeding the recommended cover crop of rye and Austrian peas on next year's cotton land. He also joins the County Soil Conservation Association. The association's machinery starts work, and the terracing of Sam's rolling lands soon will control the erosion. Well, well, Sam. Here we find you in the county agent's office, eh? Pretty good fellow after all, isn't he? You want to know what variety of seed to plant next year? The experiment station and field results will decide that. Be sure, though, to buy enough pedigreed seed from a reliable breeder to plant 5 acres. You'd better get the seed for the rest of the crop from neighbor Jones. He's been planting pedigreed seed and having them gin free from mixing for several years. That's right. You must send an order for the pedigreed seed. And here's the seed at the railway station. And now we'd better stop by and get the rest of the planting seed from neighbor Jones. The mailman's been here, eh? Come on, let us read it too. Oh, from the county agent. A community meeting at the schoolhouse? a specialist on field crops from the State Extension Service, is going to discuss improved methods of cotton fertilization and production. And Sam is right there for the meeting. These extension specialists back up the county agents in giving farmers the right dope on better methods of farming. Now let's listen to this talk.
And here we come to 10 points in cotton production. 1. Soil building through erosion control and use of legumes and cover crops. 2. Well-prepared seed bed. 3. Use of a fertilizer balanced to fit the needs of the crop. 4. Proper placement of fertilizer. 5. Plant plenty of tested, treated seed of a variety that will produce 1 inch to 1 1/16 inch staple. 6. Close rows with thick spacing in rows. 7. Poison for boll weevil. 8. Side dress growing crop with quickly available nitrate fertilizer. 9. Frequent and shallow cultivation. 10. Pick and gin only dry, mature cotton.
Now let's see if Sam follows this advice. And sure enough, here he is. Early in the fall, he cuts the cotton stalk. Then, early in the spring, he plows under the cover crops. Then he prepares the land by thorough harrowing. Back in the county agent's office for some advice on fertilizer, eh? Well, he knows all about your soil requirements and the needs of a cotton crop. And here's the formula, all written out. Here's the fertilizer being put down. Remember, the rows are only 36 inches apart. The fertilizer is mixed with the soil with a bull-tongue plow, which follows the fertilizer distributor. Then a good seed bed is prepared by bedding on the fertilizer. Then the beds are harrowed down. This is how cotton planting seed are treated with mercury dust to control seed-borne diseases. Look out there, Sam. Don't mash his finger. Then the new seed are planted. And in due time, a good stand of healthy plants is ready for chopping. Now let's see if Sam follows the county agent's advice. The young plant should not be chopped too thin. 2 to 4 stalks per hill in hills 6 to 8 inches or hoe width apart. Sam, you're an artist with a hoe. First side dressing of quickly available ammonia is applied right after chopping and just ahead of the first cultivation. When the squares are the size of a pea, the cotton plants are poisoned for boll weevil. Correct mixture is 1 gallon of water, 1 gallon of blackstrap molasses, and 1 pound of calcium arsenic. Calcium arsenic should be mixed with a little water to form a paste. Then the rest of the water and the molasses should be added and the mixture stirred some. Only the amount of poison that can be used in 1 day should be mixed at one time, as it will burn the cotton leaves if allowed to stand from one day to the next. A mop for applying poison is made by wrapping a piece of crocus sack around the stick and tying it to hold it in place. The poison is applied with the mop, extra care being taken to get it under the leaves of the plant. Let's hope all of the weevils get a full dose of it. The second application should be made 4 or 5 days after the first, and the third 4 or 5 days after the second. These poisonings should so reduce infestation that Sam will have a crop. Frequent cultivation is necessary to conserve soil moisture and kill weeds and grass, but it must be shallow in order not to cut the seed roots of the cotton plant. The number and time of cultivation will depend on weather and soil conditions. The second side dressing of quickly available ammonia is applied when the cotton is about knee-high and begins fruiting heavily. Is Sam proud to show this cotton? Look how well it's fruited. Prospects for over a bale an acre. Cotton picking time again at Sam's farm. The picklers are told to pick only the fully open, mature bolls and leave the half-open bolls for later picking. The cotton that is picked early in the morning is put in small piles and spread out to dry. First bale of seed cotton will soon be at the gin. Well, Mary, it looks as though you won't have to carry water from the well much longer. And that's not all. Just you wait. Good cotton, you say? Yes, we know it is good cotton. One of the best bales we've been this year. One and 1/2 cents above the market price? Well, we'll let you have it at that. Yes, Mr. County Agent, you knew and we knew Sam could do it if you followed the rules. But how about the 5-acre contest? First, we'll measure a selected area. Then we'll count the bolls and pick boll samples to determine yield and status, almost as accurate as weighing the cotton from the field. Let's not forget the planting seed for next year. Sam saves several bales of seed cotton from the pedigreed seed until late in the season when the ginning rush is over and has the ginner drop the roll. The seed is now free from inferior varieties, and he has enough to plant his entire farm. Another letter? What is it this time? Oh, come on, let us in on it. What? You've earned one of the district prizes in the 5-acre cotton demonstration? Now, isn't that fun? Another farmers' meeting with Sam on the front seat. You know, you really should have given a nice response to that presentation, but then you are such a modest girl. We know what you and Mary plan to do with that money. Better days have come to Sam Farmer's place. Through seeking out and following the best farm practices, Sam and Mary have been able to acquire for their farm home many of the comforts and conveniences that tend to take the drudgery and monotony out of life on the farm. There is a satisfaction that comes from such a season. Sweat and toil, and long hours of labor may be cheerfully endured and even found pleasurable when they look forward to an assured and adequate return, such as we find in the story of Sam Farmer's cotton.
Oh,